Hey, what's going on, everyone? How you guys doing today? My name is Matt Jarbo. Welcome to Hollywood After Dark. Today is the 19th of August, 2019. It's weird to think that the month itself is almost over. Right, we're coming into that back couple days. We're coming into that back time of the dog days of summer when you think it's going to get hotter, and the answer to that is yes. Yes, it is. We have a whole other month to go with this shit. Hate to break it to you. September, last month of summer. Hot as hell, hot as balls. So, yeah, a lot going on. a lot going on today, actually. It took me a little bit of time to find anything to talk about today, just on the main channel in general. Trying to figure out things to cover because I didn't do any shows over the weekend. And then, of course, it felt slow and it felt like nothing was happening. And, of course, before I have to go run errands tonight, a lot of stuff drops down. So we're going to be talking about that here in a minute. We're going to be talking about Disney potentially. The accusation has arisen of potentially inflating numbers, not necessarily in the way you might think. Also, does GRRM hate HBO? That's a question. And Disney Plus and its passwords, because apparently people aren't a huge fan of what Disney's going to be doing next. But of course, who really at this point doesn't hate Disney in one way or another? And I'm being honest. I'm being truthful here. You know, how many people out there watch YouTube videos and think to themselves, I hate Disney. You know, the tinfoil comes in and rages. Because there's a lot going on there. The company is way too big. It's way too massive. It's way too over the top. So it's one of those things where you have to really question whether or not this situation is true. But we will talk about that. Dis here says, can't sleep after seeing Endgame for the first time. Yeah, that movie emotionally wrecked me for the next day. It emotionally wrecked me. I was so done the next day. I laid in bed. This is true. I laid in bed the next day. My girlfriend comes in. She's like, are you okay? And I'm like, I need a day. I just need you to watch the kid. I just need a day. And she's like, is everything all right? Like, did someone die? And I'm like, yeah, someone did. Someone died. She's like, oh my God, who died? I'm like, I can't tell you, it'd be a spoiler. Yeah, it's true. I held it from her for a number of months. She didn't know until we just watched Endgame the other night. And she was like, oh, that's who got you upset. Okay. Then she got it. Then she figured it out. Garrick here saying the fandom menace makes their money by hating on Disney. 100%. 100%. And they'll admit it too. So you can't really like hold it against them when they openly admit to feeding into people's anger as a way to earn a profit. Kind of like Darth Sidious, right? They're kind of like the dark side, but they're okay with that because they think that they're fighting against the good side or they're fighting against the bad side. It's a weird thing. I don't think Disney's light, by the way. Like a gray Jedi. So there's that. Did Disney stock drop after that story? Let me take a look here at Disney stock real quick. Let's see here. Ooh boy, that did drop a couple dollars. Thank you for letting me know that. Now I got to figure out how to make that graphic get into my. I didn't even think about that one. Damn you for telling me something when I've already done all my prep work. And now I have to add in more prep work. Thanks, you bastard. I have to figure this out now. Yeah, I can do it. Yeah. Son of a bitch. Now I have to go back. I have to go back and change so many things. I've done all my prep work. And it's all my images are set. All my graphics are set. And then you come in and you're like, you see their stock price? You fucking asshole. It's not your fault. You did a good job. You gave me info. But now I got to figure out where to drop it. I wonder, I could remove a graphic and then just replace it. Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to remove a graphic and then replace it. That's what I'm going to do. I'll just remove it because it's something I've already talked about and it's fine. But you son of a bitch. Making me do more work when I've already got it good to go. This is what happens when people care about what I talk about and they give me factual valid information that's necessary to advance the story, I get all salty and bitchy because I have to do more work. That's there we go. All right. There we go. Now it's in there. Let me double check that. All right, now we're good. I can drop it in. This is why you always want to maybe like number your graphics a little bit differently in order to drop something in. So then it's fine. Oh man. Yeah, I have a feeling this story tomorrow is going to be all the rage. People are going to be talking about this thing in the morning. Because Disney doesn't need any more bad press. They don't. They really don't. Which is one of the reasons why I think that is in a response to this, they're going to deflect. Like they're going to drop something. Watch them drop the Star Wars trailer early. Watch. But I should talk about that. All right. Let's see here. Garrick says Netflix probably spent their entire marketing budget on Stranger Things. That's why no one knows about it. Maybe. And I have talked about that too. I have talked about that. In regards to how Disney's handled things. I think it's really one of those situations to where it is what it is. But I'm not a fan. Anyway. Okay, we're a few minutes in. We're 6 minutes in. I want to give people time to come on in. Let's see here. Why is there some part of the Twitter sphere that tries to paint me as a boogeyman? I don't know, man. To some people, if they stub their toe, it's my fault. They're in another hemisphere and they stub their toe and they're like, "Matt, you bastard," as if I have that kind of telekinetic ability. Let's see. Legend here says, I have not seen Stranger Things, and you don't. No, dude, you got to watch it. Darth Devok, Disneyland will not close in 5 years. I do hate to break it to you on that one, buddy. I really do. I really hate to break it to that. There's all that. All right. So remember, if you guys want to support the channel, streamlabs.com/$3 is a great way to do it. Or super chats if you really feel like giving your money to Google. That's fine too. It does help support the show, keep us going on a nightly basis. I have so much fun doing this show. I have a lot of fun. I want to move it earlier in the day. I'm trying to. I'm really working on that. Really trying to get it earlier. Around like 9 p.m. would be the nice time, would be the sweet time. So there's that. All right. So why don't we jump in to the first, no, hold on here. There we go. Make sure my graphics are ready to go. So if you guys are unfamiliar with how this works, if you're new here, so what I like to do is I have my stories for tomorrow predetermined, and we get to talk about everything. And then I'm going to open up the phone lines afterwards. We can then discuss this stuff. So for the next, let's say 15 to 25 minutes is all going to be news. We'll be talking about it, having a good old time. And then of course your thoughts will come in once it's all done. So if you got a good one, if you got a good zinger, good thing you want to say, hold it to the end or share it where I can't see it. And then other people can check it out later on. So let's get into this, shall we? You know, Game of Thrones Season 8 is one of those things that is highly contentious. Very highly contentious. In fact, I would argue I'm one of the few people on YouTube that will be honest and open about the fact that I enjoyed Season 8. But one of the things that I've said, and that got me in some trouble with some people, is that I've always felt that George R.R. Martin was to blame for how the last couple seasons turned out. Everyone blames David Weiss and DB Benioff, or DB Weiss and David Benioff. Everyone blames Dan and Dave because they were the writers. And that's true. They were the showrunners, they were the writers, and they were the ones in charge and overseeing everything. But as I always said, George left them hanging. He did. He left them hanging. He did not give them the proper material needed in order to deliver a solid finale. And I put all the blame for how the story turned out on him. I do. I really do. And people have not agreed with me. But I just have to say it like this. I have to put it out there. I have to, when I see this particular headline here, George R.R. Martin says HBO's Game of Thrones wasn't very good for me. All I can say is I fucking called it. I called it. He's throwing them under the bus. These dudes who made him one of the most popular, well-known people on the planet. I know where is throwing them under the bus because he didn't do his job. because he didn't uphold his end of the bargain. And I said that time and time again, but no, Matt don't know what he's talking about. Game of Thrones season 8 was crap. No, not really. Could have been better. I will admit to that. Could have been better. But at the end of the day, guys, no. A lot of this was his fault because this was his story and he failed to finish it. Robert Jordan died, sadly, before the last couple books in the series came out. But he had already plotted out everything meticulously and handpicked a writer to come on in, Brandon Sanderson, to come on in and to finish it up. And while the voice was different and the fans noticed that, they still felt at the end of the day they got what they wanted. But let's look into the article here. The rancorous response to the series finale of HBO's Game of Thrones continues to generate chatter 3 months later. And author George R.R. Martin still has to answer to fans. Yeah, for his massive screw-up here. In an interview with The Guardian, the novelist again says that he is sticking to his original plan for the remaining books in the series, stressing that the controversial conclusion in the show will have no effect on what he's writing, and whatever that is remains shrouded in mystery. Yeah. So the ending that he told Dan and Dave, right? The ending that he gave to Dan and Dave, the ending that he provided to Dan and Dave is probably going to change in the book. Because fans were like, Bran? Even I was like, I get it. I kind of like it. But when he was all like, oh, why do you think I made this journey? I was like, oh, F you, Bran. That I didn't care for, I will admit. Now, he says here, you can't please everybody, so you got to please yourself. How about you? Yeah, you can't. It's true. You can't please everybody. That's 100% accurate. But at the same time, George, you had a job to do. And he goes, you can't please everyone. You got to please yourself. He says that he's divorced himself from the ire sparked by the finale, saying, I took myself out of all that. Yeah, by not completing it. Going on to say here that some of the theories are right and some of the theories are wrong, Martin said in response to fan speculation about what's to come in the books. They'll find out when I finish. Yeah, they'll find out when he finishes. Just like they were supposed to find out years ago when he was on all those Tonight shows and he was going and doing all those events and those press things and everything else, signing the autographs, kissing the babies, autographing other stuff. And everyone's like, what's going to happen in the last book? And he's like, you got to wait to find out. And yeah, then the show caught up to him and he was like, crap. Because this was his fault. This was 100% his fault in not completing his task. I don't think we'd be having these conversations. There would be this debate over Game of Thrones season 8 if he would have actually finished his job. But again, he goes and plays the victim here. And this is what he's playing the victim 100%. Martin also seems pretty bummed about how the show has affected his personal life, saying that he misses the old days when he was able to exist more anonymously. I can't go into a bookstore anymore. That used to be my favorite thing to do in the world. To go in and wander from stack to stack, take down some books, read a little, leave with a big stack of things I'd never heard of when I came in. Now when I go to a bookstore, I get recognized within 10 minutes and there's a crowd around me. So you gain a lot, but you lose things. And you know what? Listen, I get that. Okay. I'm not like a heartless son of a bitch on this particular topic. I get it. I do. I've been out with my family and people have come up and like gotten autographs and pictures. I get that. Like there was a dude who came up to me in a mall and he was like visibly shaking. He was like so nervous to say hi. I get it. And I'm kind of tooting my own horn a little bit here too. But the point is, like, I get that. But we're not talking about that. You wanted to be an anonymous writer, fine. But you still went out there and did the press tours. You still went out and put your face and your name on so many things. People knew who you were. That did not change. So yes, you gain a lot. And you do lose a couple things. And that part might suck, but it's not like you haven't had years to deal with it. He says this. I don't want to go to a party where an unending succession of people want to take selfies with me because that's not fun in the way that it was in the old days. That's work. Yeah, because you're a celebrity, George. You are a celebrity. Hate to break it to you, buddy. You're a celebrity. That, in essence, is somewhat expected when you go out to these events. Now, he did say that the show's end was a liberation. I don't think the series was very good for me, he said. The very thing that should have speeded me up actually slowed me down. Every day I sat down to write, and even if I had a good day, I'd feel terrible because I was thinking, my God, I have to finish the book. I've only written 4 pages when I should have written 40. And I get that. I do. I do get that. I do get that entirely. Okay, fine. Your motivation's a thing. There's days I crank out, 10 videos and I feel great. I'm like, I was productive today. And there's days I can't get one out of me. I understand that. But that didn't stop you from doing Night Flyers, the TV show, the one season show on Sci-Fi. It didn't stop you from working with From Software to develop a video game. It didn't stop you from writing your goddamn blog posts all the time. There were so many things that were distracting George R.R. Martin that he is now tossing Dan and Dave under the bus, basically, and acting like none of this is his fault. Like, act like none of this is his fault. This is the season 8 Game of Thrones Rotten Tomato score with a 58% on Tomato Meter from 10 different critics, which isn't really much, but I think that's pretty accurate from what their critics would say. And the audience score of 12,000 with a 32%, saying Game of Thrones final season shortchanges the women of Westeros, sacrificing satisfying character arcs for spectacular set pieces and its mad dash to the finish line. And you know what? They're not entirely wrong with that. But that mad dash to the finish line was the ending that Dan and David set. Could they have taken more time with it? Yeah, 100%. Okay, and I'm not going to argue against that. But they also probably got to a point where they just needed to finish this thing. And they had to set that hard limit on themselves in order to get it done. Because when you've got a guy who is playing the writer without actually writing and finishing his obligations to make sure that this cultural phenomenon that people love and they get into massive fights over ends up ending the way that it ended because you didn't finish your job. And the dudes who were tasked with trying to finish it dropped out of going to Comic-Con because they didn't want to deal with the damn backlash. And I don't blame them. You get very little sympathy from me, George. You get very little sympathy from me at all. And you shouldn't get sympathy from anybody. You had a simple job. It was to finish your story. And you failed to do it. And at the end of the day, you throw this show under the bus. And you throw the writers under the bus. You throw the two guys who brought you all the fame and fortune in the world under the bus. And let them be left holding the bag because you couldn't stop taking selfies with people and going on talk shows and working on other projects. You kept saying for years, oh, I don't see the train on the horizon, but I feel the rumbling on the track, so that you still don't finish the damn book. We wouldn't be having these conversations if you would have done your goddamn job. Okay, so Disney itself is a crazy phenomenon, right? The company itself is massive beyond belief. I feel like they're spending money, like more money than they have, on things that they don't need. And I can't tell necessarily if it's Bob Iger just trying to secure his legacy, or if it's ego, or if it's whatever. I don't know. I'm a passerby. I'm a watcher in the night. I'm a person who hangs out on the internet and says, hey, do you know what Disney's up to right now? That's what I do. That's how I run my business. But an interesting article dropped today, and this is insane if it's true, if this is true. A whistleblower says Disney has been inflating their revenue by billions. Yeah. They just had their shareholders meeting the other day. And they really did. Iger really tried to kind of shift the blame. Well, we lost a lot of money because the Fox movies were terrible. Yeah, and you guys still released them. Where you lost money by releasing them. You could have held off on a few of those things for Disney Plus or Hulu. But you still released an X-Men movie in summer, 5 weeks after Endgame. And you set it up to fail. You did. You set it up to fail. I'm not going to... There's no way that they did not set up X-Men to fail. Makes sense. But that's what it is. Anyway, this is the whole article here. This is the whole article from Daily Beast. An accountant at the Walt Disney Company who claims the company overstated its revenue for years went to the Security and Exchange Commission to blow the whistle, according to a report in MarketWatch. Sandra Kuba, who was at the company for 18 years and worked in the revenue operations department, claimed those in the parks and resort business overstated their revenue by billions. She said employees would do this by taking advantage of the weakness in Disney's accounting software, along with recording fake revenue or overstating actual revenue amounts. Kuba said She estimated that the company's 2008 to 2009 annual revenue could be overstated by as much as $6 billion. She said she went to the SEC in 2017 after she attempted to bring it up internally, and she was fired about a month after approaching the feds. Yeah, that seems about right. That seems about right for Bob Iger and Disney right now. That really does. Now, Kuba told the website that she had spoken with and met with the SEC multiple times, including a discussion as recently as last week. A Disney spokesperson said that Kuba's claims had been reviewed by the company and were utterly without merit, and the SEC declined to comment. Now, that's interesting to me, because that's really interesting to me. When you have a situation like this where they said too that their last quarter profits for the parks were $6.6 billion in the second quarter of the year. $6.6 billion is what the parks brought in. And she's saying here that they overestimated or overstated how much they'd earned by $6 billion in 2008, 2009. Now, the question is, why would you overstate the price? Well, obviously it's to bring up the the stock value, but that didn't help him today. That didn't happen. Look at this here. This is from earlier today, where the stock price had a pretty decent sized drop right about 4:30 this afternoon. Went from about 136 to about 134, somewhere in there. It went up a little bit by the end of the day. I think it, but at the same time, it's that's not good. That is not good at all. Look at that. That's going to cost some people their jobs. And Disney's already going up against Netflix in regards to stock prices, and Netflix has like a higher stock price. But Disney's got the name, and so that's what they're kind of banking on here. And a lot of people are going to look at this story, face value, and think that 100% it ties in with this. New reports of empty theaters at Captain Marvel add to the movie's controversy. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is that all about if you don't know? That had everything to do with Captain Marvel being in over 4,400 cinemas. No scarcity, but people were surprised it was making as much money as it was when there were still empty seats in some auditoriums. Like I said, there was no scarcity. The thing is, though, the people that are going to be talking about this particular story and attributing it to Captain Marvel and the ghost seats phenomenon that people were talking about is the two aren't connected. Because what they were talking about was theme parks. Now, we don't tend to look when we discuss Disney and box office and everything else, how much money gets made in theme parks. It's insane. But now with the failure, I don't want to say a failure, but now with the slowing down of Galaxy's Edge, at least coming off of that second quarter, and how attendance was down 3%, even though hotels, merch, and food were all up, it is going to shine a big eye on everything. Because why would you inflate your numbers? To keep your stock up. You inflate the profits to keep the stock up. You don't want the stock dropping. You don't want the stock dropping, especially after you just spent $71.3 billion on Fox's assets. Predominantly, again, in my opinion, spending that kind of money to get the X-Men predominantly. Sorry, John Campea, I disagree with you. It was pretty much for the X-Men. And whatever back catalog you could get your hands on to put on Disney Plus or Hulu. But really, as far as developing properties, you want the X-Men. So that's where we are right now. There's really not much else to go on. It's just, it's a report. It's a whistleblower. The SEC apparently was made aware of it. The SEC apparently wasn't doing anything about it. But the spotlight from this, the sharp decline in stock, that's going to put a huge spotlight on Bob Iger and the brass at Disney to do something about it. And with Disney or D23 happening next week, or is it this week? I forget when. That's going to mean that they're going to have a lot to answer for when they're there in front of people who are going to be right there. Probably, they're not going to be asking any questions because they're not going to let them ask any questions, but it could definitely cause a problem when you have to go out and face the quote unquote public like that. So we'll have to wait and see where the story goes, but trust me, I will be following it very, very closely. Okay. So Disney Plus is coming out in just a couple months, right? It's coming out in just a couple months. Everyone is super excited for it. Everyone really wants to see what's going to happen with it, especially if you happen to be a Star Wars fan. But this is concerning. Disney is looking right now to enact a plan to prevent password sharing. And look, I get it. Okay, I get it. I pay for the 4 simultaneous streams for Netflix on their UHD plan. I think it's like 16 or 17 a month. And I share it with my mother and I share it with my stepdad. We're in 3 different states. All right. So I share it with people because I pay for it. I pay for the simultaneous streams. Netflix is aware of this and Netflix knows this. But Disney, again, after spending all that money on the Fox properties, the $71.3 billion on those Fox properties, and the amount of money for the BAM tech, which is a couple billion, and everything else Bob Iger is dropping serious cash on, they're looking at Disney Plus as their next cash cow, 100%. So let's see here. It says the Walt Disney Company and Charter Communications just announced a new distribution agreement for Charter to continue to share Disney content with Spectrum customers. If you're not a Spectrum customer, that probably means that nothing to you. But if you are, this press release is a little something that might not only affect your Disney Plus plans, but could also pave the way for more widespread anti-piracy practices across the board. And this is what it says. Additionally, Disney and Charter have also agreed to work together on piracy mitigation. The two companies will work together to implement business rules and techniques to address such issues as unauthorized access and password sharing. Now, right now, Charter, Spectrum, that's it. And there's a lot of other ones that are out there. I believe Charter, I don't remember who their major one is. And when I lived in LA, it was like Time Warner, I think is what I had. But there's like Cox Communications, there's Comcast. There's a lot of places that have these type of things, like these type of, these major telecom conglomerates, right? They've piecemealed out the country and there's not a goddamn thing anyone could do about it, right? There's not a damn thing anyone could do about it. Our old laws are completely out of date. And I would really love a tech savvy president to come on in and break the telecom companies up, right? Treat the internet like a public utility so we don't get screwed. I think I'm not the only one. I think if you're watching this right now, you have the internet, you know how bad it is, you get it. You get it. Now, anyway, it goes on to say here that the companies don't offer up any details on exactly how they're going to go about this, but many outlets are pointing to an Ars Technica piece, which suggests that this could specifically impact those using Charter TV account to gain access to Disney content online. The article also tosses out the possibility that Charter may monitor broadband network usage, including the tracking of IP addresses when Disney services are accessed. And this, of course, is really, really where things at. I'm not a fan of that, to be honest with you. I'm not a fan of that at all. Because this is something you pay for. It's all got to be in Disney Plus's terms of service. How many simultaneous streams? If I'm paying for 2, then who cares who gets my second one? You're getting my $7 a month or my $13 a month if I go for the bundle plan. And if I get multiple streams simultaneously, then who cares where it's coming from? This is all an early bid for control. It really, really, really is. And if you want to see how much space Charter and Spectrum cover in this country, this is a map I pulled. Look at this map right here. This is a map of what they have access to. And they got like all of Southern California. Look at that, with the exception of, I believe, San Diego County, because that's Cox. And then what appears to be San Luis Obispo, Santa Barbara area, and then San Francisco. But like the rest of Southern California, they got. I mean, it's crazy. Look at how much Texas they have. Colorado, Wyoming, almost all of it. Look at pieces of Washington. Look at the entire Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota area, all through Indiana, Ohio, and what is that, New York? I mean, it's insane how much Charter has. So this is going to impact a lot of people. This is going to impact a lot of people. And this is only going to be ultimately the beginning. It really is. This is going to be the beginning of what they're going to be trying to do to cut down on people sharing their passwords. And we all know it. We all know that's what Disney's up to. We all know this is what's happening. And honestly, people should talk about it because that's not a small thing. Now, I did find this article here that I wanted to talk about in regards to why this could be a bigger issue, especially if you have friends in maybe other countries or something. So Disney Plus prices, devices, important dates, and everything else you should know about the streaming site. This is what they tell you for when things are going to be available and why it's kind of a big deal. So as of now, Disney Plus has announced 5 countries with respective launch dates: United States, Canada, Netherlands, all on November 12th, Australia and New Zealand on November 19th. And the thing is, though, it's like The Mandalorian drops on the 12th, which means that Australia and New Zealand are going to get the service when the second episode is up, which is kind of crazy, because the question then becomes, where the hell's the UK? And some of them are pretty outraged that they're not going to be part of that. And I like this tweet here from Jake Wade. Well done, Disney. You've just lost yourselves $1 million in revenue with this revelation that the UK will have to wait longer for Disney Plus. If you think that us Brits are just going to sit here and patiently wait to see shows like The Mandalorian, then you're in for a shock. And the truth of the matter is, he's not lying. He's not wrong. When you start restricting access to content, and I understand the rollout part of it, I get that part, by the way, but this is a problem that a lot of people face when it comes to everything. When it comes to, getting content, is restriction of access. What does that do? It feeds piracy. Well, what's Disney doing? They're working with Charter to stop piracy. So they're working with them as a pilot program to figure out how to cut down on piracy. And what they're probably doing is they're going to look to see how many people pirate The Mandalorian in order to figure out which areas need it the most. Disney absolutely killed the public domain. It killed copyright law. And soon it's going to try to kill sharing. It's going to try to kill how we share our data plans that we pay for as a way to maximize profit and to minimize piracy. And the thing is, they're going to do this by bombarding you with content, by bombarding you with distractions, shiny little distractions that are going to keep you from seeing what they're up to. And a lot of this, I feel, boils down to Bob Iger, which is why that whistleblowing story is quite interesting. Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts down below. There we go. Okay. All right. So yeah, that was. Let me ask you guys a question. How did you guys like that setup with that? Did that look pretty good? Did that look pretty interesting? I want to know. Because I mean, like, I was working on, doing all those edits. Well, those weren't really edits. Those are just those are images that I just had brought up on my screen. Anyway, look, I'm still going to get Disney Plus because it's going to be cheap for the first year, and I really want to see The Mandalorian. And I don't want to pirate it. I want to pay for it because I want there to be more of it. So that's going to be the big problem there. Let's see here. Danny the Deer says, I don't care much about it since the world's going to descend into chaos in the next year. Well, that's true. That is true. Osmandius asks, my thoughts on Jason Momoa saying he saw the Snyder Cut. I was going to do a video on it, but that would be 30 seconds. It'd be, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, apparently Jason Momoa saw the Snyder Cut and he just said sick. That tells me absolutely fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing. So Disney will buy Sony. I don't know. I don't know if Disney's going to buy Sony or not. They might buy, I think they're going to try to buy back. I think they are going to try to buy back the Spider-Man rights, but only if, really only if, with Spider-Man hitting $1 billion and now becoming Sony's number one profitable property, Sony's not going to let it go. That's the thing, is they're just not going to let it go. Disney will buy the White House. Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers is the new Hitler. Oh, come on, man. That's not cool. That's not cool. Let's see here. What if Warner Brothers dropped the Snyder Cut on April Fool's Day? I would. it was the same cut as as Justice League. That'd be great. That'd be pretty funny. I would laugh my ass off at that. To be fair, I really would. That makes me chuckle. All right, so do me a favor, guys. If you guys are having a good time, go ahead and slap on that like. Let's try to hit that like up there. Let's 49 people watching. Let's get to at least 25 likes. So, okay. So now that the news stuff is done, I'm sure you guys have things you want to say. And I'm sure you have things you want to get off just so you guys can call into the show via Skype. Remember, I don't answer blocked or unknown numbers. And also there is the Discord link, which is currently in the video description. At the very bottom, if you guys want to jump into that, get into the waiting room, or I'd say maybe the general room probably, and I could drag people in and everything else. So that's open. That is open. No, that's Count Dooku, not Count Dankula, RT. That's there. What are antitrust laws? Well, nothing that really works for big companies in America. Have I seen the Andrei Tarkovsky films? Tarkovsky. I have not, actually. Am I going to report D23? I'm not going to D23, but I'm definitely going to cover it. Yeah, I'm probably going to do a live stream during the what's it called? I'm probably going to do a live stream during the Disney Plus and Walt Disney Studio panel, and then just have like a Twitter feed brought up on screen, because otherwise there's not going to be much of a point. Have I seen the Toby and the MCU videos? I haven't, Shidoko. Can you message me those? Antitrust limits. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, antitrust does limit the power of big companies. Favorite Scorsese film? Probably The Departed. I can tell you my least favorite Scorsese film, and that's Hugo. That movie was garbage. Cool concept. Great concept. Horrible execution. Horrible. Hated it entirely. So, yeah, there was a lot, oh, it's 2:38 a.m. Yeah, I started a little bit late. Hugo was not amazing. Hugo was terrible. Hugo had a great premise, and the last 20 minutes were awesome. But the movie was pretty bad. The movie, just overall, it didn't know what it wanted to be. It tried so fucking hard, and it ultimately just kind of like it just no. You know, it just no. It wasn't good. It wasn't good. So D23 Jason Paolo is the Disney 23 Expo. It's like their Comic-Con, so to speak. Or as Nerd Report would say, it's going to be San Diego, which is not. You haven't seen The Godfather. Are you a bad person? No, because I haven't seen The Godfather, and I'm not a bad person. I mean, it depends on who you ask, but ultimately, no, I'm not a bad person. Let's see. So I hate Hugo, but you like Stopper. Okay, listen. Stopper, my mom will shoot is arguably not a good film, but it's entertaining for what it was trying to do. It's entertaining for what it's trying to do. And as a result of it being entertaining for what it's trying to do, I can take it. You know, in regards to anything else, it's yeah, I don't know. Hugo was pretty bad. Hugo was better than the BFG. I haven't seen the big BFG. If I'm a movie fan watching The God, I know it's essential. I just haven't got around to doing it yet. So so yeah, I didn't care for Hugo. I saw it, like, I walked out of there. I'm like, I should fucking like seen the Muppets, because that came out that day. My girlfriend is like, let's go see Hugo. And I'm like, I want to see the Muppets. And then we saw Hugo and didn't like it. And we went back and saw the Muppets a couple of days later and both really, really liked it. So that's how that's how it works. I mean, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it at least. Let's see. D23 people in the comment. No, it won't. It's good. How many people go to fucking D23? You're curious what other tastes of movies. I like most things. You'll watch Ghostbusters 2016. Hey, man. Hey. That was an anthropological journey. All right. I watched that movie because someone had to. And then I watched it again with the extended cut for research. All right. We got our first call for the night. And those of you. Hey, what's going on, Lewis? How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, man? This is Lewis with the Nerd Report. I'm just calling in to let Matt know that he's wrong.
About?
I don't know. What's the topic?
Oh, I'm just wrong in general. Is that what it is?
Yep.
No, see, Lewis here thinks, because we discussed this, he thinks that D23 is going to be bigger than Comic-Con.
This year, yeah, it's going to be definitely bigger.
Not.
Could I make my case?
Yeah. Okay.
Let me make my case.
Make your case. Fine.
Okay,
Fine. Fine.
and let's have the people in the chat, get in the debate as well, and maybe I bring up a few points now. True, Comic Con's a bigger event. It's been out there for 50 years already. It has more variety, but at this point, since Disney has bought mostly everything that is huge, Fox, their Disney stuff, Marvel, and Lucasfilm. Think about it. This year's biggest thing at Comic Con was the MCU announcement. D23 is the MCU. They own the MCU. They own that. Plus, they're going to have Star Wars. They're going to have Fox. Like you've been excited about the Disney Plus thing. They're going to talk about the parks. Now, as far as that, I think that's going to be bigger news because if you think about it, the only thing that really came out huge out of Comic-Con this year was It Chapter 2, and then that got forgotten after, the presentation with Kevin Feige on Saturday. This presentation, I think, is going to be bigger.
Can you really say that It Chapter 2 was like even more than a blip? I mean, you went to the Scare Diego presentation, which was one night, invite only, and then that was it. And they didn't even release a new trailer. No, they did release a new trailer.
That proves a little bit. That goes a little bit into my point, Matt. That at Comic-Con, it was a fan event. It was a great time. I hung out with you and stuff, and it was great. It was fun. But as far as like hitting news, getting the trending, I think D23 has the advantage this year. And it also, people don't know this, and I think I'm 99% right here. I think the actual location, Anaheim Convention Center, is bigger than San Diego Convention Center.
No, it's not.
So there's a lot of potential there.
It's not. It's not bigger. It's not bigger. No.
Are you sure?
Let me see here. I'll Google this. But
yeah, do the research. People in the chat, please let me know if I'm full of it. I like, maybe I don't know. The tendency is to say Comic-Con's bigger. It's been around longer, but I think the IPs right now are with Disney and Lucasfilm, Marvel, Disney Pictures, Pixar, Disney Plus. They just have the power, the advantage this year. And remember, DC and pretty much wasn't present at Comic-Con, unfortunately, this past year. So,
what do you guys? What is the? Well, I mean,
I'm right, aren't I?
No, you're not right. You're not right. Let's see here. Hold on, I'm looking.
So you're looking for the capacity of the Anaheim Convention Center versus what's it called? San Diego.
800,000 square. Okay, Anaheim is 800,000 square feet. Fuck, it's bigger. Wait. No, hold on. I could be wrong. Anaheim Convention Center is 800,000 square feet. San Diego Comic-Con is total area of San Diego Convention Center is 1.1 million square feet.
What? So
booyah.
Is that what do you mean? The entire radius, like where people walk? Are you trying to see research? I was under the impression Anaheim was bigger, but that's because for a while there was actually a rumor of Comic-Con moving to Anaheim. So I was
there's been rumors about that.
Yeah. Parking there is bad. The city gouges the customers, I think. They raise the price on everything. And that's just, it gets annoying after a while. I had a caller once tell me that he couldn't get in because he was sick and stuff, and he couldn't get a ticket to get in, and that kind of sucks as well. You hear stories like that all the time.
Yeah, well, I mean, conventions are always kind of hit or miss. Like PAX is coming up next week, PAX West, and I couldn't get a pass because I totally spaced on fucking asking for one. So there we go.
So what's the biggest news today, man? Tonight?
The Disney potentially inflating the revenue. That's like
Is it
that's
real
bad.
news or is it nerdotic news?
Well, who knows if it's neurotic news? I'm sure he's going to cover it though. But last night, I came across a thing. I came across a really interesting thing, and I was in bed, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm reading Reddit, like I do, and there was a thread on a subreddit called Hobby Drama, where they talked about. Okay, so yeah, it's this one. It blew up today kind of bit, but it's there. There's a lot there, but apparently it goes back to like the mid '90s, right? Where there's a guy by the name of Al, what's his name? Al Lutz, and he runs a website called Mice Chat, and the accusation against him is that he worked with Iger and a couple other people within Disney to create enough negative buzz around Michael Eisner to oust him and to put Iger in his place. And then they're looking to replace Bob Iger with Bob Chapek, who is the chairman of Parks, Experiences, and Products, and who oversaw the rollout of Galaxy's Edge. Now, I totally should have mentioned that in my clip, is that Bob Chapek is the guy who is kind of like, if he's next in line to take over for Iger, and they were misappropriate or this is coming from the theme parks where this over speculation or this over statement is. That could be a very damaging thing for him. I mean, he doesn't deal with the accounting, but shit rolls uphill.
Yeah, man, I think those are extremely serious accusations. I like to think none of this is happening. Who knows? But what is this? Is this revenue? The revenue they're supposed to be inflating is if it's not from the movies, correct?
No, not from the movies, but that's why I said, and I don't know if you saw the whole clip, but people are going to sit there and say that it's potentially from the movies, and it's not. It's only from theme parks.
Oh yeah, no, they're pathetic. They're to the point now where you go on some of these people's reporting and they hide the source because it's always we got this covered or bondage into comics or whatever it's called. So they don't mention those
bondage into comics.
Whatever. I mean, they just make up stuff and like fly. Look, I've told you the story before. When I started my site, 10, 15 years ago, if I could get I could get 100 stories right, but if I get that one wrong, I'd be crucified for the next 5 years. Like, oh, you had that one story that was wrong. Nowadays, it's all fake news, man. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way the internet works is if you make any mistake at all, they lord it over your head. So, you gotta be careful. And if you screw up, you screw up. That's kind of how it is. I mean, like in the reporting is always just covering rumors. The problem with it is though, is that a lot of people treat rumor as fact, and they don't do enough to differentiate. So in this particular situation, it's a rumor. A whistleblower apparently did make a claim. And that's something now the SEC has to investigate. And, if the Security Exchange Commission, which I believe is run by a Trump appointee, they keep looking into it a lot harder because keep in mind that, Donald Trump is not a fan of, what's his name? Of Iger, because Iger was rumored to be a potential ouster of Trump, if you recall from a while back. So
yeah,
it's a big thing.
Yeah, man. In regards to I don't know, the politics stuff, it drives me nuts. But in regards to I just want to make it clear. I like reporting on rumors because I feel like it's part of the fun. Speculating on what's going to be in the next Star Wars movie and stuff like that. I think that's part of the fun, something to do as we wait between films. But I think a lot of the stuff's like I've seen reporting these past few days, like, oh, this is going to happen in the next Star Wars movie. It's a rumor and it sounds awful. And they're talking about it like it's going to be fact. They're not talking about it like it's a rumor. Like, I can't believe Kylo Ren's going to wear women's underwear and dance around with guns and redo
the thing you got to remember here is that these guys, like the whole point of YouTube is entertainment. So if you're not being entertaining, no one's going to fucking care. Right. And that's the way it works. And a lot of these guys, They need something that they can play off of. They need that thing. And there's dead times when it comes to fucking movie coverage. You know, like it was
Mhm.
slow in the morning today. It was Monday morning. It was slow. Monday afternoon picked up quite a bit. You know, but this is how it is. I guess the key is that you would hope that the audience gets that it's not a thing, and that they are the ones who are then able to kind of, you know, wade their way through it, because everyone here is working on a game. Everyone here is working on a hustle, because that's what this platform does. We got 43 people watching right now, and I'm very thankful for that. So it's
Yeah,
one of those
it's
things
getting better, man. The
where, well,
attendance here is getting
yeah, no,
great,
people.
by
I
the
mean,
way.
I did a midnight stream, had like 40 people hanging out for 2 hours. It was great. I had a lot of fun. That was just like the middle of the night the other night. You know, the thing is, it's all a conversation. It's all a game. You know, I approach things from the aspect of I'd like there to be more factual reporting, or at least be more kind of fact based. But you can still speculate. It's fun to speculate. But when you start treating
It is
speculation
fun.
like it's you know, like it's fucking real, which is I see that a lot from a lot of channels, or really kind of honing in on something that's not really that big of a deal and then building it up to be that big of a deal. There's the thing. Anyway, so I'm gonna let you go, man. And I've
What?
seen it. Yeah, I got
You
some.
promised me an hour.
I didn't promise you anything. I said if you
You
want the
promised me an
time, you can
hour
pay
of
for
being
the
on the
time.
show. Hey,
Real
I'm
quick.
looking
You
at
said,
all these
you,
new people here. Could you guys hit that like button? I mean,
yeah.
I'm
Well,
gonna tell
real
you
quick.
right now, Matt is a very humble guy. He doesn't want to admit it. He works so hard behind the scenes. And, you know, he's a family guy. He's got a new child. He's really, really fucking cool. And he does it for the love of movies. This guy really likes movies. That's why I enjoy calling. And I'm actually a fan. You know, I do reporting too, but there's very few people I follow as a fan. And I'm a fan of Matt. I'm going to say that right now. I'm a big fan of yours, man.
Well,
Outside of being a friend.
well, I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you. Now, the thing is, how was Ready or Not tonight? The thumbs up or thumbs down?
Okay, so
Or what?
Ready or Not it comes out this week. It's Fox Streamline Searchlight, and I hope the studio keeps using it because you know they got bought out by Disney, and it's very violent. It's funny at the same time. You got a little bit of Kill Bill influence in there. I thought it was okay. I didn't think it was great, but it's sitting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. So what do I know?
Well, yeah, but you gotta take that with an absolute grain of fucking salt these days too.
Yeah.
Everything's a grain of
Well,
salt. Sorry,
I
man.
don't think there's any reason for them to be, you know, shielding for this film, really. But maybe you know they see something I didn't. I thought it was a 7 out of 10. It's
Okay.
entertaining. Don't miss it. So
Well, there you go, guys. So
there you go.
straight
Bud.
up review from nerdreport.com. Lewis, thank you very much for calling, man. And I'll definitely
Thanks,
talk to
man.
you later. All right,
Thank
I'll
you.
see
Bye
you.
bye.
All right, so I posted the Discord link if anyone wants to jump on the Discord. No one in there right now, and the line is open for call-ins if anyone wants to do that. We can do that. If not, let's see here. Luna says he's seeing Once Upon a Time in Hollywood tomorrow. Cool, I hear it's really good. Which is better, Terminator 3, Salvation, or Genesis? I'm gonna go with Terminator 3 is better than fucking Salvation and Genesis. Terminator 3 at least had an ending that was like, damn. You know, especially for 2003. Both Salvation and Genesis set up sequels. This one felt like it was a conclusion. Like we knew what the next logical step was going to be 20 years down the road. Let's see here. Frank Willis hadn't died too soon. The problems that Disney has faced in the last 25 years wouldn't happen. Maybe. I'm not too familiar with that person. RT, sorry about that. Let's see. Isn't Terminator 3 really bad? No. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I got some good concepts, some good ideas involved in there. Let's see here. Invader Zim Enter the Florpus. It's awesome. Nice, man. I was going to watch it today, but I didn't get time. So my goal is to watch it probably tomorrow because I'll do it when I'm feeding my daughter. What is the best Punisher movie? 2004. You guys might disagree with me on this one, but I think 2004 is the better Punisher movie. Oh, we got a call coming in. 347 area code. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing? It's me, Basic 204.
Hey, what's
I
up,
was
man?
calling it. I was calling in today because I'm hearing you talk about a lot of interesting things, and I wanted to hear your opinion on what movie genre is right for a comeback right now, at least from your view.
Let's see. What movie genre is coming out? Okay, so I mean, everything kind of goes through. I think like low budget indie horror is making a comeback. It's not that low budget indie horror hasn't really been around for a while. It's been around, but what I mean by that is like it feels like it's always kind of been like overly produced, or at least it becomes these massive things like Paranormal Activity, The Conjuring, Insidious. You know, where you get like the one movie and then they just franchise the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
And each entry is like crappier than the last. It's like, you know, look at the Conjuring universe. It's done over $1 billion. And like Annabelle, the first Annabelle was terrible. It was terrible. It was like, what the fuck? I mean, this is like not even entertaining. It's just a bad movie. And it was from the dude who did Mortal Kombat Annihilation, a movie I saw at the age of 15, stoned on chronic, laced with fucking LSD or PCP. And it was an enjoyable movie then. It was a weird night. I'm not going to lie. I'm walking home. This is true. So we smoked this fucking fat joint before going to see the movie with some friends of mine. They were like, oh, hey, we got some chronic. And they didn't tell me it was laced at the time. I was 15. So I'm like, all right, smoke it. And we're walking, you know, and I start smoking my Camel Wides because I was a fucking rebel at 15, you know, and you know how it is, you smoke a cigarette after smoking a pot, it kind of amplifies the high. And all of a sudden I look down and my fucking legs are inverted backwards like I'm the creature from the Charlie Sheen movie, The Arrival. We get to the theater, we watch the movie, and the movie when you're stoned is awesome, right? The movie when you are high is great because it made sense, right? Mortal Kombat Annihilation made absolute sense when you were stoned out of your mind. Then we had to walk home, but I was paranoid because we told my mom we were just going to go rent a movie, and we ended up going and walking to the theater and seeing one. And I was afraid she was going to be freaked out and looking. Turns out I was wrong because she didn't even know I was gone. So that's good. And so the whole walk home, I kept seeing the henchmen, like Shang, you know, Shang Tsung's henchmen, right? In the, or whoever the bad, I forget now. It's been over 22 years. Whoever the bad guy was, this henchman, like I see him coming at me through like the forest and like the trees, you know, the lights, right? So the whole time I'm trying to like fight air because I'm fucked up. My buddy is super paranoid and all he keeps seeing is cops everywhere. And we're walking through like Portland, Oregon suburbia, no cops. But anytime there's a light that comes, he's ducking in bushes, behind cars, behind trees, and he's like, "Get the fuck down! Get the fuck down!" And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, there's fucking cops everywhere." I'm like, "There's no cops. There's no cops, you fucking moron. But there's a fucking ninja." You know, like, I mean, we were 15, we were super fucked up. So the whole point is, the guy's a terrible director, but his movies are great when you're high on chronic laced with hallucinogens, is the moral of the story. But as for back to your original question, I think that, like, you know, look at right now, like The Hunt, Ready or Not. There's a couple other, like Crawl, for example, for being these lower budgeted horror films. Like Child's Play was $9 million, you know, to make.
Mm-hmm.
And these low budgeted horror films that are just fun. You know what I mean? Like horror can be fun. Horror doesn't need to be scary. It's ideally scary, but it has to also be a lot of fun. Look at like Blumhouse. Anything Blumhouse touches generally tends to do really well. So I think we're in this age of that where we're going to start seeing these comedy filmmakers going over to horror because comedy is just, you know, tragedy plus time and everything else. And they're going to be telling us these stories. And I think that's kind of where things are. You know, what I don't want is there to just be this massive resurgence of like, let's remake the Blair Witch Project. No, you'll never be able to. Don't even fucking try.
For me, I feel like right now, I felt like what you're saying, horror is good, but I feel like there's an untapped market for like really good animated horror. I've been seeing like a lot of Japanese animated horror shows lately, and I'm just like, that would be great as just a standalone movie. Some of those animated horror shows.
Yeah.
You can do
those would be
with
pretty
animation.
Cool. Well, and the thing is, like, look at I don't know if you've seen it or anyone here has seen it. But have you guys seen Love, Death, Robots on Netflix?
Yes.
And that's amazing. Like, they're all amazing. And, you know, but like the first one specifically, Like the way that it was a kind of like a Pokemon,
Well, you got to remember, it was or it's constantly being reordered for each person who watches it. So you can't just say like the first one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
No, not for me.
Netflix,
I've shown it to like multiple people, and it's been the same order the entire time, unless they've reordered it. I have no idea.
Oh yeah, for each Netflix account, Netflix was basically using that as a test to basically fine tune their algorithm for when they're designing shows to go like, oh, so if we reorder it, we can see what works for most of our users if we do this order of a series.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. I haven't heard that myself, but okay, cool.
Yeah, Netflix does a lot of interesting stuff with their algorithm testing on what movies, if they move movies above shows, which one gets watched more, things like that. That's the reason they've been leaning in more towards movies lately, because apparently a lot of people just want to watch movies, but it'll shift back probably.
Well, I mean, the thing is, when it comes to TV shows, you're asking for a massive time investment. You're asking for, like, if it's a network television show, this is why I don't watch network TV shows. Like, you look at something like, let's say, Once Upon a Time. Cool show, right? It's total ABC drama stuff, whatever. 21 to 22 episodes per season. You're asking me if I come in late to sit down and watch 20 some odd episodes before I'm current. That's a major time investment. And when you start adding more and more and more shows on that, it becomes a bigger deal. It becomes this major issue. So I think we're seeing people wanting to see movies, or at least like kind of shorter limited series that allow for that time investment and to get to know the characters, but you're also not sitting there and you're just like, what's the word I want to use? Like you don't feel like you're too overburdened.
Monopolized.
Yeah.
Time.
I mean, that's why like shorter content works.
For The Boys.
I mean, The Boys was 8 episodes, and it felt like you're watching an 8-episode movie. And each episode, because the thing is, Eric Kripke, right, did a great job with presenting it, because he's done all those seasons of Supernatural, so he knows how to formulate a show, and he treated it like it was a formula. He treated it like it was a show that was telling a long story, but each episode had a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it had enough of a hook to want you to go see the next episode, because he knows how to do that. And I think the way he wrote it, I think the way he designed the characters, I think the way that he told the story, and dude, because people are still talking about The Boys. Like, as more people learn about it, more people are watching it, everyone's getting excited again. And that is, so, did you see the teaser trailer for season 2?
No, I didn't even know that was out.
I don't even know if it's real. I mean, it's probably real, but it's on some nothing account. It's not on an Amazon account. It's not. I didn't see it promoted by anyone within the show. But but the way is, if you've seen season 1 and you see the what this teaser sets up, it's like fucking dark. It's deep. It's such a compelling little teaser. You're like, I completely get what they're going for, and you want it to be realistic, but it could be fake. It could entirely be fake, but it's one of the best fakes I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, I felt the same way about the live action. What was it? Addams Family trailer. It looked so real for Netflix. Everyone was so excited for it that Netflix said, oh, "We didn't make that." Some fan out there made that.
Fans make a lot of stuff these days, man, and they're pretty damn good at it too. They really are. They're people. I mean, the thing is, like, what was it? The guy, who was the dude? Who was the who made Pixels? Was no, that was Christopher Columbus. But like, who made the short film Pixels was based on? Because you ever see you've ever seen that one, right? The Pixels. I forget which one that was. Is it okay? Because I thought was it Fede? Was it Fede Alvarez, who came from like doing a short film on YouTube? One of those guys did a short film on YouTube that blew up. And like, no, I don't think it's him. What's he done? Apparently he's doing Labyrinth. Oh no, Panic Attack. It was Panic Attack. I think that's what I'm thinking of, right? Panic Attack was a movie Fede Alvarez did about like aliens invading and all this crazy shit. It's like this little short film, and it came out in '09, and giant robots invade Montevideo, and that's it. And it's a cool little short film, and that's what got him. I think, Evil Dead. Yeah, because he did that in '09, and then in 2013 he did Evil Dead, and yeah.
Still sad that Evil Dead ended. That was a good series.
Yeah. I'm hoping that that Bruce Campbell pulls his head out of his ass when he realizes that nothing else is going to work.
I kept hoping they would do a crossover and just announce like Hack and Slash, because they both exist in the same universe, and that comic is amazing. Take Scooby-Doo and just go like, oh yeah, we're going to kill the serial killers and then use the last serial killer's weapons to kill the next one.
Oh, interesting.
Oh yeah, you should definitely check out Hack and Slash. I mean, the comic itself, that man managed to get horror companies from all over to give the okay for Chucky to show up, Freddy Krueger to show up, Jason to show up, Hellraiser, all of these different horror movie characters that just exist now within that universe.
All right. I'll have to give that it's a comic, you said, right?
Yeah, it's a comic series. I think it started back in 2012, and they just rebooted it last year. But yeah, it's quite interesting. Girl decides to hunt down serial killers. Warning: don't let your kids read it, because like the first few panels gets really gruesome real quick.
Okay. Yeah, and those are all, well, yeah, you can do that. As I say, yeah, because Nerd Report says David Sandberg did Lights Out as a short film on YouTube. Then he went and did the Lights Out movie. Then he did Annabelle 2, and then he did Shazam. So you can make a name for yourself on the internets and go out there and get some good shit.
It would be great if you could still do that on YouTube, but YouTube is slowly killing itself.
It's going through a paradigm shift. I think that with the way they're going to be handling YouTube originals, and then they canceled a whole bunch of YouTube originals to focus on more reality-based shit, is going to be not good. But yeah. I did see Rhett Reese, who is one of the writers of Deadpool, and he also did the show Wayne for YouTube. He was complaining today about it, and I invited him to come on the show. I said, why don't you come on and we'll talk about the industry. And no answer, but I'm hoping to one day get Rhett Reese on here. I think that'd be pretty great.
I really liked Wayne. That show was pretty good. My mom, she got me to watch it because she decided to watch a few episodes, and I was just like, oh, okay.
Cool.
She just likes really violent shows.
Well,
Very calm woman woman that you couldn't just tell by looking at her, but she's just like, yeah, I like John Wick because he just starts killing people in the first few seconds of a movie.
Sometimes you don't need that much of a lead-in. You don't need it. You don't need 25 minutes of exposition before the action starts. You just need to start fucking killing people. But hey, man, I'm gonna let you go. So so thanks for calling in, and I'll definitely talk to you again. And I thank you for watching.
No problem. Have a good night.
You too, man. All right. Thank you very much for calling in. So yeah, the line is open, and anyone else wants to. Also, there is the Discord. I did post the link. Oh, no, we got one right here. Hey, 702 area code. How's it going? Hello?
Hey. Hello.
Hi, who's this?
It's Cam, remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know your voice just yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. How's it going, man? What's on your mind tonight?
A few things. First thing I wanted to mention is, did you see this these like headlines about Ryan Gosling having lunch with Taika Waititi?
I saw one headline today saying like Taika Waititi had lunch with the internet boyfriend or something. Is what I saw.
Yeah, that was Ryan Gosling.
Let's see here. Why?
I don't know. No, there's no previous connection that's known between them, and everyone's speculating that Ryan Gosling is going to be in Thor 4. Obviously, there's no confirmation or anything concrete to say that, but he doesn't really have any other upcoming projects after Jojo Rabbit besides this one that's like up in the air. The only thing definitively he's working on the next few years is Thor Love and Thunder. So a lot of people
Yeah.
are speculating, were they meeting for a role for Ryan to have a role in Thor 4? But I don't know. I mean, he's the kind of actor that's like turned down other comic book roles before. So I don't know if this is the one that he finally wants to be in, but I don't know.
It's yeah, that's a tough one because I saw that. Okay, so Taika Waititi, but okay, you have to understand Taika Waititi's got What We Do in the Shadows. There's that show. I've heard something about another movie. He wants to do another movie, which would be more of an independent film. And it's possible that because he doesn't want to always do Marvel things. And so when they get done shooting, because I hear they're shooting Thor: Love and Thunder early 2020 is when they're shooting it.
I heard summer 2020 or something like that.
Then there's there's still if he's gonna go and shoot, let's say, a low budget movie or something, now he's got the time right now to go and do it. And so that's one of those things where he could go and say, okay, it's kind of like Joss Whedon when he shot Midsummer Night's Dream. When he shot it randomly at his home in Santa Monica and paid for it himself, and then just called all of his friends to come by and be in the movie. And, they did it as this little thing. It could be something along those lines of just going and meeting him, saying, hey, we're doing this small project. And since Ryan Gosling very much likes to do these small little avant-garde indie films, and Taika Waititi's known for that himself, that is most likely the connection. That is unless they are trying to court him for a bigger role within Marvel. And it's clear, maybe it's the villain. Has Ryan Gosling ever played the villain?
No. I could see him playing, the only other major Thor villain that has been adapted from the comics, there's two. There's Amor the Enchantress, and then there's Gore the God Butcher. But those are the only two that I could think of right off the top of my head. So I don't know. I still think he could be Beta Ray Bill, which I think that would be really cool too. He was the voice and motion capture of Beta Ray Bill, but with the success of Bradley Cooper as Rocket, I think they are going to introduce Beta Ray Bill in the next Thor. I think they are going to introduce him because he's a fan favorite for one. People like him. Yeah, and they've already introduced his hammer. Stormbreaker was his weapon in the comics. So I don't know. If maybe Thor will retire. Yeah, you didn't know that? That was his hammer in the comics. People were upset. People were upset when Infinity War came out and they gave Beta Ray Bill's weapon to Thor because they felt like they were just galvanizing from that character. But I don't know. Maybe Thor will retire in some form at the end of the movie, and he'll pass Stormbreaker off to Beta Ray Bill, and he'll take a more passive role. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. So in the comics, right? So this is what I think they're doing with Mighty Thor. Okay, because they're setting. Remember, because Marvel's thinking 8 steps down the line, right? They're always thinking 8 steps down the road. So, and I did talk about this in my Mighty Thor video. I don't know if you saw it or not, but they are looking to, they're going to bring Natalie Portman in to play Mighty Thor for a while. Yeah. And ultimately Thor is going to not be worthy, because remember, that's the thing they're going to have to really play with Avengers Endgame, because he's, he called for Mjolnir and he's like, I'm still worthy, and so what's going to make him not worthy? And in the comic, it was the stupidest fucking thing, right? I'm going to spoil this, by the way. So again, I know the story. I know the story of the Mighty Thor. So. Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, Nick Fury whispers something into Thor's ear that makes him unworthy. And all he says, I'm not even kidding you, is no god is worthy.
Yeah, right? It breaks his confidence. He's not worthy to wield Mjolnir anymore.
Yeah. And but the thing is, he's already broken his confidence. So doing that again is dumb. Yeah. The way he broke his confidence. Oh, go ahead.
It's dumb. Now, I think how they're going to do in the movie is I think Jane Foster found some way to reforge Mjolnir, and she's wielding it now as the Mighty Thor. And Thor, after seeing her wield it, because I think they're probably going to do something like what they did in the comics, where she's just going to pop up and they're not going to know who she is because she's wearing the mask. And then when Thor finds out that it's Jane and that she's been wielding Mjolnir all this time and is possibly wielding it better than he did, he's going to let her have it. I'm not sure if they're going to go down the whole path of he's not being worthy. They might cherry pick.
Yeah. No, that's a good. That's a solid idea. That's a solid idea. I like that. I think that's a good idea, because I was rewatching some Looper video today about something with Thor, and they showed the bit when they showed the thing when Hela broke Mjolnir, and it's like, well, it broke in Norway, it broke in New Asgard, and you know who got it? Because in the comics, Jane does find a way. You know, Jane keeps a piece of Mjolnir, and she, you know, after it gets destroyed, and then they're able to reforge it again, basically. And that's how Thor gets the hammer back. And so I think if Jane reforges it, and then she becomes the new the mighty Thor, then yeah, that would leave it open, because then she's eventually going to become Valkyrie, and get that fucking super OP weapon she gets.
Yeah, she's going to be Thor for a while. I mean, they're looking to kind of replace all of the original 6 Avengers at some point. She's going to be the Thor of the MCU, I think, for like a long time going forward, probably.
I mean, that depends. It depends on if she's done with if she's done with the indie film world that she's known for. So I have no idea.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, but she hasn't done anything in a while, and she probably wants a decent paycheck that's going to keep her going for. I mean, listen, like, I'm an overweight, rotund American. You know, like I'm a fat dude. If Marvel came to me and they were like, you know, Matt, we really like you on your podcast. We'd love you to be part of the MCU. You're going to play like a fucking troll, but you're going to be a jacked troll. I'd be like, yeah, sure, fine, cool. So are you guys going to pay for me to go to the gym and get jacked? I would totally do that. You know, like, and then it's like, oh, so wait, I'm going to be in how many films? Okay. It's like 9 goddamn movies, a 10-year commitment. Okay, cool. And you're going to make me lose weight. Okay, cool. Keep me in shape and pay me lots of money. Okay, cool. I mean, like, everything about it seems great. I think it's call me Feige. But no, I mean, I think they're going to have to do something like that. And, but they could also be using this as a way to just kind of like wrap up the Thor Jane Foster storyline, because them breaking up was kind of dumb.
Yeah, it's one right closure on it, that's for sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's called Love and Thunder, and if you know, fucking if Valkyrie, how much you want to bet Valkyrie's queen is going to be Jane Foster, and then they're going to have like some weird 3-way relationship.
I think it's going to be. I think Thor will make a joke about that for sure. If that ends up happening, I think it's 50-50. I think they could bring Lady Sif back and make her Valkyrie's queen.
Yeah,
I think
I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I would like to see like a 2 girls 1 cup version of that scene. I'm kidding. Cult film video in the chat says DSP as Galactus. Yeah, he can survive anything. He can survive anything. If you don't know who Darkseid Phil is, look him up. Imagine.
I don't know if you saw. Oh, sorry. I don't know if you saw this, but you know, the MCU has had some like in canon tie-in novels, a few like what Star Wars has, but just not nearly as many. Like, and there was this one tie-in to Infinity War that actually the main characters were Eric Selvig and Darcy Lewis, who were the characters from the early Thor movies. And it takes place after the snap, and they're investigating, trying to figure out what happened, and they end up finding Jane Foster. So apparently she survived, and she revealed that she knew it was coming because her time with the ether inside of her gave her some sort of cosmic foresight ability to predict great events that were going to happen.
Okay, and so think about that. So she had the aether in her. So think about, like, this is the thing. What we're seeing is, I had this thought last night. When it comes to like Scarlet Witch and it comes to everything, it's like, you know, like Scarlet Witch, was she a mutant? And then the power of the Tesseract is what amplified her abilities. Kind of like with because I mean, like, think about it, like everyone who was like kind of superhero.
I think it was the Mind Stone, but yeah.
Was it the Mind Stone? Yes, right.
It was the Mind Stone.
It was the Mind. Yeah, right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. It was the Mind Stone. No,
I think that's what they're going to do. Yeah, I think they're going to say that they were mutants all along, and that the Mind Stone just awakened her latent mutant gene before it was ready to come out. You know, because
Well, because I think, I don't think it could be that, and it could also be that's when, you know, Thanos uses. I mean, how many snaps were on Earth? Right, 3 snaps were on Earth, and so the radiation is going to be like, you know, bam, and then bam, bam later on, you know. So it could be. I think that's where the mutants are going to come from.
I don't think they're going to do it though, because it kind of takes away from the history of the mutants in the comic books. Because then you can't have characters like Wolverine or Professor X or Magneto, which are very old characters, and they can't have the history of them being discriminated by like people, like with Wolverine being born in the 1800s and then living to almost 200 years old, or Magneto, having his powers awaken in like the concentration camp and all that. So I think it would kind of take away from that. I think they're going to have to figure out some way to say that mutants have been around all along, sort of thing.
No, I mean, I get that. I do get that. I think one of the things with that, though, is they're going to have to find a way to introduce them. And I don't want it to be through goddamned multiverse. I'm sorry, I don't.
I don't want it either. I want it to be in the MCU.
Yeah, they want it in the MCU. And so it's like, I don't like, I'm just not a fan of that concept. We've already done the time travel. We don't need any more of that shit. Like, we just don't. It's going to be too confusing.
I'm okay with the multiverse, but just don't make the X-Men from the multiverse. Like, if you're going to do the multiverse, have like a version of the Ultimate Universe, or a version of the Noir Universe, the 2099 Universe. Like what they did in Spider-Verse. Like, do true alternate versions of the characters.
Well, okay, yeah, but here's the thing with that, though, is that was a test to see whether or not that shit would fly. It was. I believe so. I believe it was a test, and you know what? It failed because the movie didn't make any money. It won best animated picture, and it earned it because that movie was great. But it didn't make any money. People didn't go and see it. They went and saw fucking Aquaman instead. And Aquaman was good. I'm not knocking Aquaman. I love me some Aquaman.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it wasn't financially. It just didn't make like 900 million worldwide. Not every movie has to. But yeah, it didn't. It should have, but it didn't need. But yeah, not every movie makes almost $1 billion. So I think we're being spoiled by how many movies are making $1 billion nowadays. When a movie doesn't, it seems like a failure.
Well, that was when I was doing the video for what was it? For Disney and the inflating of the numbers. The graphic that I had to pull out real quick was the one talking about the $5 billion films this year. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna remove that. I'll cut that part out and change it with the stock price, which I think worked out okay. So it's no, not everything has to make $1 billion, 100%. But it's like Spider-Man is Marvel's most like popular property, and it has been. It's the #1 merch seller, all that stuff. It has been.
But how do you think they're going to introduce Miles Morales? Are they going to make him from the MCU and make him like Peter's trainee? Are they going to introduce him from an alternate universe where the Peter Parker of that universe died and Miles Morales became Spider-Man, just like in the comics, or just like in Spider-Verse?
I don't think they're going to sit there and do what the animated movie did. What I would love to see is them doing it like the Spider-Man PS4 game, which I don't know if you played the Spider-Man PS4 game. If any of you,
I played through it 3 times.
Yeah, it's one of the best stories of it. For one, it's like the best Spider-Man movie you'll ever see. And it's wonderfully written, wonderfully acted, and that ending, oh my fucking God, that ending. But there's the way they did the Miles Morales reveal was great. At the end there, I thought that was fantastic.
And they're doing the same thing in the current animated series where they're having Miles Morales, this Miles Morales Spider-Man exists in the same universe as the Peter Parker Spider-Man, being like his trainee and everything, like his sidekick. But I wasn't a huge fan of that. I would much prefer. I think it takes away from Miles Morales the character that he's not Spidey. He's not Spider Kid or Spider Boy. He's Spider-Man. He is the Spider-Man of his world. The Peter Parker of his world died. That's why he had to take up the mantle. I would much rather prefer him be from an alternate universe. But I probably more see them going around the route of the Spider-Man PS4, because they even reference the character in Spider-Man Homecoming with his uncle, the Prowler, being in there.
Yeah. And so they're already kind of setting it up. I think they've always wanted to. They also hinted at, Scorpion and, getting the Sinister Six to go together. I really think that Spider-Man Homecoming was just making up for everything they promised in Amazing Spider-Man 2, but just much better movie. Just a much better movie.
Yeah.
I think for me right now, what I'm most excited for to see, what's coming out of Marvel is probably going to be Spider-Man 3. I am. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm hyped for X-Men. I think they have a low stakes 2 years phase 4, it's like a summer. It's like a summer broad
after Endgame. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to have
they come after the storm,
kind of thing. Yeah. You have to do that totally. And I think that's going to be a big thing, and then kind of setting things up a little bit. Whatever the multiverse of madness is going to be, is what's going to, I think, introduce the X-Men. But I'm more excited to see what's going to happen with Spider-Man, because it feels like the stakes were raised. You know,
Yeah, after
like
playing
that.
Spider-Man PS4, I was like, wow, I thought that was the best version of Doc Ock I'd ever seen. I thought it was even better than how they portrayed him in Spider-Man 2, with his motivation being like he was basically like Steve Wozniak versus Steve Jobs, where he was like the forgotten founder of a major tech company, and the other guy took all the credit. I was like, wow, I wish they would have done that in the MCU, but they probably couldn't just rip it off, though.
Yeah, they really. I don't know. I really want to see what they do with it. But hey, man, I'm going to let you go because I try to keep it about 15 minutes
Yeah.
per call so we don't go too long. But I had a good time and definitely calling again. Thank
Okay.
you. You're in the
Thank you.
Discord, right?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Because you could have called them through there as well. Just wanted to make sure I didn't
Okay.
forget.
Okay.
So either
I'll try to
or
make
is
it
fine.
there to you.
Oh yeah, no, it's all good, dude. I'm just letting you know. Sorry, man. Thank you so much, and I will. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you later. All right. So that was a good call. That's good. Talking about Spider-Man. I love. If you guys have seen, Far From Home, like that ending. Oh my god. Right. Like, oh my god. Oh my god, Haley, these crocodiles. Like, oh my god, it was great. It looks like early reviews are coming in for Ready or Not, and everyone's saying that it's pretty fun, which is good. And I thought it started a woman named Samara Weaving, who I thought was Hugo Weaving's daughter. I was it's her uncle. Well, I was close. There's some family line there. Let's see here. Thoughts on Arrival. Star-Lord, I haven't seen it. Thoughts on Batman Beyond. Fucking love it. Let's see. Spider-Verse made $375 on a $90 million budget. Times that by 3. Okay, it made some money. It didn't make as much as it could have made. Let's be fair. It didn't make as much as it could have made. So there's that. What's Ready or Not? Ready or Not's a new horror movie. Well, horror comedy, kind of, I guess. It's where a young woman marries into a rich family. And on the night of, I think they just got married, the night of the wedding, basically there's a game of hide and go seek where if the family finds her, they have to kill her. And so if she survives for the night, then she gets in there. I did see Batman Beyond is getting the Blu-ray release, and I'm very happy with that. We need a Fortnite movie. Shidoko, no, we don't. But what we do need are more phone calls because we're going to be on in about another half hour. The number's in the chat right there, 206-734-4312. Feel free to call in or jump into the Discord link in the video description. Just go in any of the voice rooms. I will see you and I'll pull you right in. Be a good time on that one right there. And where is that? I don't even see the general chat. What the hell? We might have actually lost a voice room in my Discord. No, we didn't. Okay. I had it minimized. There we go. Okay. Now I can see it. We need a fidget spinner movie. I have a feeling they were working on it, if I'm being honest with you. I have a feeling. Because Hollywood likes stuff. Christopher Nolan versus Denis. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Villeneuve. I would say, I would say Christopher Nolan for right now, but Denis is, it's hard to argue with how good Blade Runner 2049 was. But I do agree with Garrick here that Denis needs to build up his filmography some more. But I think Dune Part 1 and Part 2 is going to be good. Let's see here. The Apple chat says, I can't decide whether Infinity War or Endgame is my favorite MCU movie. My thoughts. Dude, okay. Okay. Let me ask you a question, Apple chat. I want to ask you guys this question too. So press 1 if you think Kill Bill is 2 movies. Press 2 if you think Kill Bill is 1 movie. And the answer to that is obviously it's 2 because it's 1 film. It's 1 story. Raise Your Fist is a fucking moron. There's that. Like, anyway, I don't know why people like him. He tries so hard. But anyway, so it's 1 film, 1 story. Infinity War is a 2-parter. It's one story. It's the story of Thanos getting the stones and snapping, and the story of the Avengers stopping him. It's literally 1 story. And that's the same thing you got to look at Endgame with. Now, you can have your favorite parts. See, I think that Kill Bill Volume 1 is better than Kill Bill Volume 2, but as a whole feature, it's fantastic. It's a great story. It's a great 5-hour story. It takes you through this whole saga And the same with Endgame. Like, I haven't watched Infinity War and Endgame back to back yet. I want to. I do want to, but that's a massive time investment. That's like a full day right there. It's like watching any of the Lord of the Rings extended cuts. Racer Fist likes bad music. Okay, fine. That's true. Tokyo Drift is the worst Fast and Furious movie. You really want to put that up against Too Fast, Too Furious? Now, granted, Too Fast, Too Furious did get us Tyrese and Ludacris. So that does have a thing over Fast and Furious, but Tokyo Drift. But Tokyo Drift did give us Han. It did give us Han. And so, you have to kind of weigh it. Favorite movie in the last decade. Oh man, I can't tell you my favorite film in the last decade because I don't know it. I mean, there's so many movies that I love. I don't know how to value that. That sounds like a cop-out answer, right? I prefer Rambo. I've never seen any of the Rocky movies. It's so weird to sit there and figure out what's your favorite film in the last decade because so many are good, so many are bad. I can tell you ones I really liked though, ones that spoke to me. And probably the one that popped into my head that spoke to me the most was a movie called The Secret Life of Walter Mitty. It came out in December of 2013. It was directed by Ben Stiller. And it's a fantastic movie. It's an utterly fantastic film. It has a lot to do with just a guy who's lost in his life, using his imagination, trying to get through the day. And he gets the opportunity to go on this life-changing, globe-trotting adventure and finally discover who he is in a way that's kind of, fantastical and whimsical. But it's handled in a way with some extremely good cinematography. And it's a really solid movie. And I loved it. I really loved The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and it didn't get a lot of play. It came out, during award season. No, I was never going to say The Secret Life of Pets. That movie was bad. That movie wasn't bad, but it wasn't for me. I have a funny story about that movie too. The guy who wrote it, I had talked about him years ago on my other channel, where he was in a situation at a store, and I talked about a tweet thread of his, and he actually emailed me and asked if I take the video down. And it'd been years and years. And he asked nicely. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. I've had people email me before and ask me to take content down if it's a story about them and they're trying to move on with their lives and, get past some shit. I have no problem taking that stuff down. You never really know, but it's like, I just kind of feel like that's the right thing to do. Let's see here. So have I ever seen any of the Mad Max? Yeah, of course I've seen Mad Max. Let's see. Benjamin Button scene was great. Benjamin Button was good. I like Benjamin Button a lot. That movie made me cry, I'll fully admit. That movie got to the end and I'm like, I'm fine. I am fine. I'm not. Like some movies hit me. Simon Birch fucked my day up. That was a movie I rented when it came out, and it gets to the end and like Simon Birch is dead. It's a 20-year-old film. Fuck you. Okay. If you get mad about the spoiler. And then like Jim Carrey is like, playing the older version of the kid, of his best friend, and like, burying him and whatnot. Like he comes back to visit the grave. And then like the movie ended and I was like, I was okay. And I was like, I think I was like 16 or 17 or something like that. And I walk out of my room, my mom's right there and she's like, hey, everything all right? And I just start like bawling. And the movie just got me. It's like also Hayachi, A Dog's Tale. I will never watch that movie again. I watched the last 30 minutes of it and I was just a slobbering mess. I can't do it. I can't do it. Jason here says Walter Mitty's one of his favorite movies. Never expected to be that good. Yeah. Here's the thing, man. Generally speaking, don't underestimate Ben Stiller. I think he's got one bad directorial film under his belt, and that's Zoolander 2. And that's not even that bad. It just wasn't as iconic as the first film because Zoolander just became a cult classic and it didn't necessarily need a sequel. It's not like, the first one was great. He also directed Tropic Thunder and he also directed Cable Guy. Yeah. Ben Stiller directed Cable Guy. There's that. Oh, Simon, really? The director of Simon Birch was Michael Steven Johnson? I didn't know that. Wow. If I ever meet the guy, I'll let him know that he made me cry. He made me really cry. Mad Max movies are very good. I like Mad Max movies quite a bit. And he also did that one. It was like called When in Rome with Kristen Bell. He did Daredevil and Ghost Rider to a Kristen Bell romantic comedy. That's how you know your career is fucked. That's how you know. That's how you know. That came out in 2010. Let me see here. Yeah, Mark Steven Johnson. Let's see here. Kristen Bell was in. I saw the movie when it came out. My girlfriend wanted to go see it. I said, great. Why? Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, let's see here. Mark Steven Johnson. What has he directed lately? So, he wrote Grumpy Old Men. He wrote Grumpier Old Men. Big Bully. Which one was Big Bully? He wrote that. Oh, that was Tom Arnold and wow. He did Jack Frost with Michael Keaton. Oh, and he wrote the story for Christopher Robin, but he hasn't directed anything. Oh, he's doing Finding Steve McQueen. And okay, wow, he hasn't done it. Yeah, wow, he hasn't done a lot. It's kind of weird when you find people that you're like, this is like really good, and like this person's like got a lot of talent, and then you just never see them again. You know, you just never, ever find them again. They just end up going away, and you're like, whatever happened to that person? And they always disappear. Anyway, let's see here. Dodgeball or semi-pro? Dude, Dodgeball, man. Fucking 100%. Talladega Nights or Step Brothers? Probably Step Brothers, although it's a close one. It's a close one. I love Talladega Nights, but I think Step Brothers is funnier. A Night at the Roxbury is a goddamn American classic. My favorite space movie is probably... let's see. What would my favorite space movie be? I want to say like Alien. Because it's so good. Walter Mitty, awesome film, best soundtrack and best cinematography. Yeah, 100%. The song in the trailer on top of that cinematography was amazing. Such an underrated movie overall. Such an underrated film. So it was great stuff there. All right. So I'm going to keep posting the number until someone calls in. You guys can call in, or again, here's a link for the Discord. It's a good place to get in on the conversation. Looney Tunes back in action, or why the fuck would you ask me Looney Tunes back in action or Roger Rabbit? A movie like starring Jenna Elfman and Brendan Fraser, which I believe I'm right on that one, or a movie that brought Warner Brothers and Disney together with Robert Zemeckis directing. Yeah. No. Plus Looney Tunes back in, I was right. It was Jenna Elfman. It was Brendan Fraser. Directed by Joe Dante. Really? Wow. Had a budget of 80 million, had a box office gross of 65. It was not a good movie. It was not that good of a film. What has Joe Dante done recently? I mean, he did some good ones, man. Like it's so bad when a movie comes out with a good director from back in the day, and then you're just like, he hasn't done much. He's done a bunch of episodes of Hawaii Five-0 recently and MacGyver. And he did an episode of of Legends of Tomorrow. But I mean, this guy goes back. He directed Piranha from 1978. He directed Rock and Roll High School, uncredited. The Howling. He did the segment It's a Good Life from Twilight Zone, which is good. He did Gremlins. He did Explorers. He did Amazing Stories, 2 episodes of that. He did Inner Space. He did The Burbs. Gremlins 2, New Batch. A bunch of episodes of Erie, Indiana. Fucking Matinee with John Goodman. He did Small Fucking Soldiers, which is a good movie. A really solid film. I think it was Phil Hartman's last movie. And then like 5 years later, Looney Tunes back in action. And from there, his career just went to shit. I mean, really. You know, it's like, I'm not wrong. Let's see, Space Jam or Back in Action. I have to watch Back in Action again, but it's really all about Space Jam. It's really all about Space Jam. You gotta love Space Jam. It's good stuff. It's one of those movies that's just really, it holds up. It holds up over time because it's nostalgic as hell. So there's that. Let's see here. Okay. Take a look here. Yeah, there's a lot of good directors out there. We just don't see whatever happened to, like, who the fuck was in, who did Kirsten Dunst end up marrying? I don't know why. I saw her on Colbert the other night, and I was like, who did she end up hooking up with? Because she this is gonna sound really bad. She married a guy that you would not think she would have married, but she did. It's the dude. It doesn't even I guess really matter. I will say though, I do like Kirsten Dunst quite a bit as an actress. I want to see this one she's in now called the On Becoming a God in Central Florida. And let's see. Fargo. Okay, she was Peggy Blumquist in season 2. What's his name? Jesse Plemons. Yeah, she hooked up with Jesse Plemons, who was the captain in the USS McAllister episode of a Black Mirror. Just so you guys know. The director of the Fred movie is Clay Weiner. Does anyone remember when she wasn't wearing a bra in the rain scene? Yeah. I also remember, what's it called? Bring It On from back in the 90s. Okay, look up the filmography of Brian Levant. Okay. Let's take a look here at his stuff. What has he done? Wait a minute. Are they really doing Police Academy? They're rebooting Police Academy? No. What? The 8th installment of the Police Academy franchise? No, I will not allow it. I will not allow it. That is no. That's terrible. That is absolutely terrible. Okay, what has this guy done? What's this guy done? What's this Brian Levant done here? He did Married to Children. He did the new Leave It to Beaver. He did Charlie. He did fucking Problem Child 2. Listen, that's an underrated film in my opinion. All right, anything with Amy Yasbeck is all good in my mind. I had such a crush on her back in the day, especially after Men in Tights. Amy Yasbeck was hot, and he also did he did Beethoven. I thought that was an Ivan Reitman movie, or did he just produce it? He must. Oh, John Hughes. Okay, right. John Hughes wrote as Edmond Dantes, but I could have sworn Ivan Reitman was involved in Beethoven. I mean, I saw Beethoven's. What was it? Beethoven's Second wasn't terrible. No, okay. I was. Oh yeah, Nicole Tom was in that one. Holy shit! Wow. Yeah, she looks good. It's so weird to look back. Anyway, he did the Flintstones. This is Brian Levant again. Oh, well, I like the Flintstones. That was good. He did Jingle All the Way. That was a great film. Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas. That wasn't terrible. He did Snow Dogs. That was actually okay. Paul Walker. He did Are We There Yet? Wow. That was surprisingly good for Ice Cube. The Spy Next Door, that was the Jackie Chan one, right? That was the Jackie, yeah, that wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. What else did he do? He did Christmas Story 2. And then he did Max the White House Hero. Oh my God. Wow, that's crazy, man. I'm still looking at the whole fucking, what was the name? The chick in Problem Child 2. Trixie. Was that her? Was her name Trixie? Yeah, that was her. Wow. She hasn't done anything. She's a year younger than me. And she hasn't done anything. And I don't blame her. The last thing she was in Bill Nye the Science Guy. I mean, imagine yourself, later on in life, like, oh, what have you done with your life? Well, I was an actress. Oh, really? What were you in? Did you ever see Problem Child 2? Yeah, I was the bad one in that movie. But no, that was a fun film. My grandparents fucking hated it, but I liked it. Oh, man. Oh, that takes me back. Roger, yeah. Roger Gosnell. Yeah. I got him mixed up with Alexander Anja the other day. But I really, no. Scooby-Doo, the 2003 Scooby-Doo is an amazingly good film. I don't care what anybody says. This dude is a solid director of kids films, and he's had a solid career and he doesn't get any fucking play. He doesn't get any play. He's directed 13 films. He started off doing Home Alone 3, which you might think a straight to video Home Alone movie is not good. And you'd be right. But Home Alone 3 also wasn't terrible because John Hughes wrote the damn thing. And it's got like, I think French Stewart and Missy Pyle, right? Were like the or no, was that the other one? I could have sworn like French Stewart. Scarlett Johansson was in it. Wow. I guess I was wrong. But that wasn't a terrible movie. I saw it when I was younger. He did that one. He also did Never Been Kissed, Drew Barrymore movie, just hit 20 years back in April. Solid movie. Solid rom-com film. He did Big Mama's House, which was surprisingly good. Scooby-Doo from 2002, which was great. He also then followed it up with Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed, which was not good. It was not a good movie. James Gunn wrote that, but I will say though that putting Linda Cardinelli playing up the sex appeal of her from the first film worked out well for the marketing. He did Beverly Hills Chihuahua, which I had to sit through, and it wasn't the worst thing ever. The Smurfs 1 and the Smurfs 2, both those are pretty bad. But those are like, it's just the concept of them weren't good. Wow, yeah, this guy's done quite a bit. He did Show Dogs. He's got a couple. Wow, there's a lot. Wow, geez, it's crazy. How many Ernest movies are there? There's a lot. John Hughes' 90s work isn't that good. It's not terrible. Please do Jason Freeberg. Oh, you want me to look at the disaster film, guys? That's fine. Because I have some thoughts about that you guys may you may not like. You may not like it all. All right, let's go. All right, let's go back to the first film these two wrote. Was a movie called Spy Hard in 1996 starring Leslie Nielsen. That was actually a funny fucking movie. Spy Hard was actually a pretty funny movie. The opening credit sequence was done by Weird Al. Since it was making fun of Bond films, and they had Weird Al do a full-on James Bond introduction. The movie wasn't that bad, although it's sitting at an 8% Rotten Tomatoes score. And it had a budget of $18 million, and it grossed only $26 million worldwide. But then they followed that up with Scary Movie, which has a budget of $19 million, and it made $278 million worldwide. Which is, they didn't do Scary Movie 2 or 3, but they did do Date Movie back in 2006, which I remember the trailer for that was like, oh, this could be kind of funny. That was terrible. It was terrible, but that made it made its money back. And then they did Epic Movie, which was slightly better than Date Movie. Still fucking terrible. Still made $86 million. Then they did Meet the Spartans in 2008. Now, here's the thing with Meet the Spartans. Meet the Spartans as a whole film, as a full movie, it sucks, right? As a full movie, it sucks. If you watch it in clips, like you're watching old episodes of SNL, like on YouTube in clips, the clips are kind of funny. The individual segments are funny, but as a whole, it's pretty terrible. Disaster Movie was bad. I never saw Vampires Suck because I'm not that much of a masochist, and I never watched The Starving Games. Although I do believe was this one they did Best Night Ever in 2014? What's this movie? It's produced by Jason Blum. It's a 2013 American found footage comedy about 4 young women having a series of wild and raucous adventures while partying in Las Vegas, featuring no women of merit, and it made very little money. It made $289,000. Then they also did Superfast in 2015, which had a budget of $20 million, as most of their projects do, and it grossed $2 million. And that was making fun of the Fast and Furious films. Who keeps giving them money? I mean, it was distributed by a company called Ketchup Entertainment. Ketchup Entertainment. Holy crap. Uwe Boll. Oh man, he follows me on Twitter too. He follows me on Twitter. I'm trying to get Uwe Boll to I'm trying to get him to actually let me interview him about the video game movies. And not from a hater. I actually kind of like a couple of them. But his assistant won't let me do it. He won't let me do it. I'm like, look, I just want to have a conversation about these particular films. I'm not going to badger you over them. I'm legitimately curious. And I will come at it 100% from positive. It's not going to be mean or nothing. Okay. Ooh. I remember Uwe Boll films. See, here's the thing. I remember back in Game Informer in 2002, right? It was 2001 or 2002. They were talking about Blood Rain and what was the name of the company? It was Majesco Entertainment or something like that. I think it was Majesco. And a couple of these things. And he goes, they go, oh, well, there are going to be feature film adaptations coming of House of the Dead, Alone in the Dark, and Blood Rain, all having the rights purchased by a German filmmaker named Uwe Boll. Now, we all know him as U-Boll. That's what he's known by here in the States, but it's pronounced Uwe. And I remember going oh, that's pretty crazy. So here's the thing. October 2003, House of the Dead opened up the same day as Kill Bill Volume 1. And I went and saw House of the Dead overseeing Kill Bill Volume 1 because I really wanted to see House of the Dead because I liked the trailer and the movie was bad. And I've only seen it once. Surprisingly, House of the Dead, the sequel, starring Sid fucking Haig, was better movie. It was a better written movie, better well-made film. Alone in the Dark, my buddy and I went to go see that one over watching Assault on Precinct 13, which I think we still kind of came out on top on that one. But we both went in there to laugh at the film, and we did. We also saw Blood Rain. We paid money to watch that movie. That was pretty bad. Oh my God, that was terrible. That was fucking terrible. Blood Rain 2, we tried one night to watch that. We got really drunk on Zombie, that liqueur. He came over with a fifth of that thing, and we just poured ourselves a bunch of drinks, and we're we're going to do an Uwe Boll marathon. And we started watching Blood Rain 2, got 10 minutes in, said, fuck this, and turned it off. And we went and we watched Dead or Alive, which, by the way, that movie's great. Sober or fucking fucked up on booze. That movie's great. I recommend it. Couldn't make it through Blood Rain, The Third Reich, but I did go see In the Name of the King, because In the Name of the King was originally going to be a two-parter, right? Or a 4-hour movie they were going to cut into two parts. And that's what had me curious is how big is this movie? It was a $70 million movie. Uwe Boll was able to scam not only the Canadian government, but the German government out of these incentives, from what I'm told, to get $70 million to do In the Name of the King. And he had Jason Statham and Ron Perlman and Ray Liotta. Claire fucking Forlani was in it. A lot of people are in this movie. And he ended up releasing it, I want to say February 07 or something. And I ended up going and seeing it with my friend, and neither one of us hated it. We were it was sci-fi. It was a sci-fi movie. That's what it felt like. It was a sci-fi movie. And then he also did Far Cry with Til Schweiger. And I like Til Schweiger quite a bit. And I watched Far Cry. Far Cry wasn't bad. If you look at Far Cry as not necessarily if more of an adaptation of the original game, not not 2 or whatever the fuck the series turned into now, which is not a bad thing. I love the series. But Far Cry it was kind of more about the original and what that was. It's not terrible. It's not terrible. But him as a video game director is god awful. I mean, you have no idea how much utter respect I have for Uwe Boll, because he makes terrible movies, but sometimes they're okay. Like Postal. Postal, if you haven't seen Postal, you are literally missing out on a good part of that. IGN gave they gave House of the Dead 3 out of 5. That's fucking funny. I wouldn't even give it a 3 out of 5, and I enjoyed it well enough. M. Night Shyamalan. I got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to hold off on M. Night. We'll do M. Night like tomorrow or something. Here's the thing. I got 5 minutes left. If anyone wants to jump in for the last couple minutes and ask me a quick question or just do whatever, you guys can call in. The number's right there in the video description. We could totally get that going. But yeah, there's a lot of good filmmakers out there. There's a lot of crazy filmmakers out there, and a lot of things. Oh, a lot of good films, a lot of bad films. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I am just laughing my ass off. How many Land Before Time films are there? 14 of those movies right now? There's like 14 of those films. I think is how many Land Before Time movies there are. Let's see here. Let's just Google that question real quick. And there are a lot. There's a lot of them. There are 14. Yeah, I was right. There are 14 films. And the only one that matters is the first one. Because that was Don Bluth, and it was executive produced by George Lucas and Steven Spielberg. Everything else is shit. Because here's the thing. I want Don Bluth. Here's the thing. Titan AE hits a 20-year anniversary next year. Right? Like, why doesn't Don Bluth make more movies? He hasn't in a long time. I mean, he's 81 now, so I don't think that's going to be happening. But the dude is great. And the guy, he makes some good fucking movies. And I would just love to see him come back. I mean, Pete's Dragon, he was the animation director on that. The Secret of Nim was a great film. Dragon's Lair was a good video game. Space Ace was a good video game. Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven. Thumbelina was good. The Pebble and the Penguin was okay. Anastasia was really good. And then Titan AE was solid. Titan AE was a solid one. He hasn't made a movie in 20 years. I would love for him to come back. Man, like there was a budget of like 90 million on Titan AE and only earned 36.8 million. But I think I don't know if it would do better now, but like it was so good for back then. Yeah, I know it was because Titan AE bombed. I remember seeing a teaser for it in front of The Phantom Menace. I'm just saying it's a good movie. It's a solid film. It was a good action adventure. It felt like, very much reminiscent of Space Ace. All those things. I would love to see more of that. What's my favorite Michael Bay movie? The Rock. We could go for Dinesh D'Souza movies. All of those are terrible. All of those are absolutely terrible. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I'm going to go to bed. So I will chit chat with you guys tomorrow night. I'll be back on the same amount of time. Thank you everyone who participated and called in and chatted. You guys are awesome. I love you very much. Have yourself a great day, and peace the absolute hell out.